Knights, behold my level 110 character. And in this series, we're going to talk about what to do at the max level of 115. But we're not quite there yet, obviously. We're only 110. And we're going to go that last 5 levels, and I will explain to you basically the strategy of this cap. I've done this series many times in the past, and I feel like it is the most useful for newbies who are getting into this game or people returning to the game and wondering what's all changed. Guys, I'm going to lay it out to you, only the things you need to know. So first things first, guys, I'm going to show my gear off real quick. This is one of my weaker characters. She does have the old, 110 fixed epic set. I barely played her at all. I only got a couple fusions, so she's not strong at all is what I'm getting at here. Before we start on that journey, guys, you want to make sure that you have the latest act quest. Okay, you can pretty much skip all of the act quests that you have and just skip them right away until you get to the max one that you can do, which should be this one right here. Now, the very first thing I want to talk about is if you already have a character at the max level, you might have yourself a stockpile of souls already. And the souls are really useful because of this cap's basically gearing system, and it allows you to create automatically a starter set. And if you don't have a lot of gear already, this is a great way to immediately get yourself an end game set. You can do this right away. You can see I'm only level 110. I'm not even at the max level. But as I get access to this armory system, if you have the rare, you do need the rare souls. It's really easy to get rare souls, but if you have them, you can just craft them right away, and now you have a great starter set. And when I say great, I mean, guys, this starter set is incredibly powerful. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and do this just for the sake of the video, but I'm gonna go ahead and take all of my old gear and just put it on and inherit everything, and basically all the old stuff is now irrelevant because I'm just gonna put all the new stuff on, and you're gonna see I am much stronger. Now, it does show that some of this stuff has higher fame. I think an argument could be made that these are slightly stronger than what the fixed epic set can provide. But I wanted to showcase this because it is an option. If you don't have very great gear, if it's not upgraded or whatever the case, guys, you do not need to wear any of the old gear. If you don't have it already, craft it yourself like this, or just use whatever you can. Guys, leveling is the easiest part of this cap, so don't worry about it. But I did want to mention you can go ahead and do this. I recommend doing it even if you don't have a great set. I have a Neopremium contract, and a couple cool things about the Neopremium contract is that you can rent equipment when you're in Siria's room, of course. You can rent equipment, and the nice thing about that is that you can select your character here. I am playing Chaos, and it's going to give you like a full rental gear. So this is yet another gear set you could put on instead of the starter set. But I do recommend the starter set over the rental gear. But the one thing the reason why I wanted to bring it up is that you don't have to pay any repair costs, which can get expensive. And most importantly, you get a pretty nice weapon as a temporary weapon that, again, you don't have to pay repair costs. So if you don't have a weapon and you have the Neopremium Plus contract, you can rent out gear, and that can be used for leveling as well. So you have basically 2 options. One is like the free version. If you have a character already at the max level, craft yourself a starter set. You unfortunately can't craft yourself a weapon. And if you have Neopremium Plus contract, just put on the Neopremium set and rent it out, and it's totally free. And the benefit, again, you don't have to pay for any repair costs because you can just rent again and then replace all the gear that you have. Just a lot of different options to get yourself a really good starter gear set. There's also events going on right now that can bypass all of this, so I just wanted to mention that these are a couple options that are very useful. I'm going to actually do a combination. I'm going to use the starter set and then this rental weapon. Now, I know I'm talking a lot right now, but this is very important. Again, along with the Neopremium benefit, I do recommend, if you're just trying to get to the max level as fast as possible, to turn on the FP Express. That's actually what I'm going to do. It's just because you get so much more EXP, and I don't like spending a lot of time in dungeon trying to level up, guys. So I'll spend double FP and I get double EXP. It's not quite that, but it's definitely a lot faster to level. So I recommend using it. You don't have to. It's more efficient FP wise if you don't, but more efficient time wise if you do. So that's how that works. And the last thing I want to talk about, guys, is in the Sarah shop. If you go over to the mileage shop, one pot that I recommend is this 3x growth potion for 5 mileage. Now, mileage, you can get 1 mileage, I think, for every 1 dungeon you do, or you can spend Sarah and get mileage as a refund back. In any case, it only takes 5, and you only need 1. Okay, it's only going to take me about 30 minutes to get to the max level anyway, and that's how long this potion lasts. Highly recommended. It does give you a lot of EXP. But guys, I've talked enough about leveling. Let's go ahead and do that. Some people like to get challenge out of their scenarios. For me, it's all about time efficiency. So I'll just pick like expert difficulty or something easy, you know, so I don't have to worry about it. Summon my guys and kill everybody here. And don't forget, again, use your EXP potion. And of course, I said I wanted to have FP Express. Highly recommended, but guys, scenario is easy. It's always been easy ever since they added the scenario mode. Quite frankly, there's no difference here. Scenario is really easy. In fact, I don't think the cap has ever been this easy to gear up or to level up. You can see how much EXP you're getting. Millions of EXP, 300 million EXP, just a whole like 15% just for doing that couple rooms there. Guys, there's not much really to explain about this. I've already said turn on FP Express, use the 3x potion. You could do some minor optimizations, but guys, it's just a matter of going through here. Anytime it tells you to click or go somewhere, just do that. And I got to talk to the staunch kid, and we're gonna go into this other area and and just keep going. At this point, you know, if you have FP Express, I don't even bother skipping the dungeons that they have me doing. I just do them. So whatever it asks me to do, I don't even skip at this point. And it's only going to take you about maybe 20 minutes to finish getting to the max level. So there's not much else I have to say about that, guys. Just kill everything as fast as possible. Go on the highest difficulty you want. I recommend just something faster, just to make it easier for yourself, and then just freaking tear through everything. You guys can see how strong the starter set is. It is very strong. It is at least strong enough to do this level of content in one shot. Anything I touch dies in one hit, which is kind of what you want when you're trying to get to the max level as fast as possible. One thing that I talk about in my podcast, and one of the big problems of this cap, is that alts are very powerful. Okay, when I mean alts, I mean just another character to use your FP on. That's kind of how this game works. If you haven't played DFO before, is that there's an FP system, and it limits how much content you can do per day. Obviously, it's using up my FP to do these dungeons, but it's more than that, right? It's more than just the FP. It's actually the daily and weekly entries that you have to content as well that you got to worry about. And especially in this cap, things like your weeklies and your dailies are something that are character bound, up to a max of 20 characters. So people who have that many characters can really abuse the systems that are in the game. And so it's really highly recommended, guys. It's hard to deny how good having multiple characters is in this game. Even if you don't intend to actually take them seriously, just having a couple bodies is good, okay? And it's really easy to get to max level, as I'm showing here. You know, it doesn't take that much commitment in just having these characters. I know a lot of people suffer from like having so many characters that they don't know which one to pick, and you're gonna end up eventually being indecisive about it. You'll have a lot of characters on hand. I think it's worthwhile to level any character that you have to max level. And like I said, you can get them that starter set, and they're gonna be strong, man. They're gonna be really strong. So if for no other reason than to just have a body to do dailies and weeklies and potentially use FP, I highly recommend making alts in this game. It's not necessary, of course. Everybody plays the game and MMOs how they want to, but I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that that there isn't some heavy benefits for having alts. Take all the tips I'm talking about leveling this one character, but think about the other characters that you could be leveling as well, and abuse it there too. I'm already at level 113, by the way, guys. We are cruising. Okay, a lot of people have been asking about how to get money in this game, and effectively I should tell you that the developers of this cap have basically stated that they want to try and reduce the reliance on gold. So they've effectively nerfed a lot of things. You'll notice you actually don't get a lot of white items or any white or blue items in this cap. You start off getting gear and it's only rare. So anything that drops will only ever be rare in this cap. And so a lot of like the fodder stuff that you used to get just doesn't exist in this cap, which accounted for a lot of gold. So they kind of want you to farm gold directly in the gold farming content. But what I'm finding is that a lot of the gold generation you can get is actually from trading and useful items like souls and stuff. So if you get tradable souls like epic souls or unique souls, those are great sources of money now. But in terms of like farming content, I would say that they've heavily nerfed them to extreme degree, to the point where some people are even farming older content than this, and not the current content for gold. I don't have the great gold strategies. It's going to be its own video if there's interest in that, but effectively just know that they've kind of toned down the gold, and I'd say the most gold that you can get is actually from getting rare items that are useful to other people and trading those on the market. Like I said, souls are a big commodity right now. Everybody wants souls and needs souls to progress, and they're willing to pay a lot of gold for it. So, and that is max level. Boom, done. So when you get to max level, guys, go ahead. You guys can see here it's giving me some suggestion what to do, but go ahead and clear your act quest and ensure that you don't have any quests left over to do, and you can skip anything that you need right here. I'll skip this as well, and boom. So this is the indication that you basically have maxed out, and it even tells you what you can do. You can click this adventure navigator, and it kind of guides you in terms of what content you can do at your level range. Now you can see it's recommending advanced dungeons, but I don't have enough fame, so you got to scroll down here, and here's what it actually recommends me to do. It tells me to do the White Cloud Valley of Dreams, and we'll get into all of that. But before that, guys, we got to improve our character a little bit and optimize it, and get the standard stuff that you should have on all of your characters. So let's go ahead and take some time to discuss all of that. When I got to max level, I didn't talk about it, but you guys can see I got a ton of stuff. You guys can see I got a lot of stuff from Dr. Oracle. Unfortunately, that is only from an event going on right now for the new level cap. Okay, but when we don't have an event going on, you're only going to get this level 115 box. So I'm going to open that up and show you what you get out of it. And there you guys can see I get some Doom Oracles, I guess, as well as a weapon box, which I am not wearing a weapon, right? I am using the rental weapon. So you get to select a rare weapon. That's awesome. Highly recommended. And you'll notice that it actually comes with the enchant on it already. So, and this right here is going to give us a full starter set, which of course we have already crafted before, but you know, we used it to level, but they give it one to you at the end game as well, which is really good. This one's actually better because it actually has a ton of enchants already on it, which is what you're going to need at the end game. It's something I highly recommend. In fact, I'm not even going to recommend it. This is not optional. You need to have enchants on every slot of gear, and this just gives it to you at the max level, so you don't even have to worry about it at all. So that is both your weapon and all of your slots of gear, starter gear with enchants, already good to go just for getting to the max level. Really nice. Yeah, I actually had a 10 amp weapon, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this here and inherit that onto this rare, and that's fine. This is just saying that I'm gonna take the enchants off of the current existing short sword, which is fine. I'm gonna put that on. So again, like I said, when you get to max level, one cool thing is that you get the full rare set that has enchants. I of course already had enchants, but and I also have amplification, so I'm not going to switch it over. If ever you get an improvement to your gear, like for instance, if you get a cursed gear and you wanted to put the amplification stat on there, one place you're going to want to go and know about is the mystical Grimoire NPC. You guys can see there's a lot of tabs and they're all really useful, but they all use this currency right here, the Merchant Guild Silver coin. You're going to get really familiar with this coin. Effectively, it is earned by doing daily and weekly content, as well as farming your Doom Oracles in Hell mode. So like you see, a lot of the items in here will cost those coins. The one I want to bring attention to is the enchants, because while yes, you do get some preliminary enchants on the gear that you get for leveling to max, one thing to keep in mind is that the enchants that are here are actually stronger. They have stronger effects. Like for instance, they have overall damage on belt and shoulder, and you don't actually get those with the ones that come from the box. So in my case, see here, buy this right here, and so I'm gonna get like my belt enchant for 1% overall damage. That's definitely better than what I got right now, and I'm just gonna go ahead and replace it, and boom, there you go. So check those out. Those are really nice. Now the other thing we got to talk about that's part of your character's strength, we'll skip over these two. These are very powerful and very necessary, but they're kind of related to the packages in this game. Your creature, your avatars, and your aura and your title are all kind of based around packages, but packages are how you get a lot of your damage in this game. You guys can see I get 15% damage from that. My aura's giving me some damage as well. Put a lot of damage. Creatures give a lot of damage. Those are something I really can't talk about very much in this beginner type video, but they are really necessary. But we're going to skip over to the talismans, because the talismans are extremely important. It's a system that's eventually going to get removed, and the reason why we're going to be able to get them for so cheap. But DFCat is a really cool website because it effectively allows you to search out some best in slot options, at least with the old cap, and it's really applicable to the last level cap. There's a new website nowadays for the new level cap, but this is still really useful because of the talisman system. So I'm actually going to go over to my chaos right here. You guys can see it is a Korean website, but you can use it just as a reference, and it's going to load up the top Koreans of the last cap. You guys can see it kind of snapshotted what the Koreans were wearing. So this is the top chaos of the last cap. And what gear set they were wearing, but we're not really looking at the gear they're wearing. In fact, we're going to look over here where it showcases, there you go, I zoomed in a little bit, where it showcases this, and this tells me effectively what talismans and runes they have. And I think that's a really useful resource. You guys can basically see all of the chaoses are using the same 3 talismans and the same 3 runes. Okay, they got these 3, and they're putting runes in Genocide Crush. So what do? You go ahead and close this. Now you know the details. And make sure that you get these. These basically, you need 3 talismans. So I'm going to get 3 of these. Yeah, just based off of the skill pictures, I already know that it's going to be Massive Fire, Genocide Crush, and the Sky Sword. And I've already picked them up. So, I mean, pick up those boxes. But you guys can see, here's Genocide Crush, here's Massive Fire, and here's Sky Sword. Get those 3. Don't think about it much any more than that, guys. I mean, maybe you can make some slight variations, but guys, that really is what determines what the best in slot is. Everybody's doing it, so you know it's got to be good. Now, in terms of the runes are what you put into your talismans, and you can pick up 9 runes, and it's really cheap. Only costs 90k gold right there. I'm going to pick 9 selectable runes, and it even shows you on the website what color to get. So they get 3 purple, 3 red, and 3 blue of Genocide Crush. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick and make sure my character's talismans are squared away. Now, if you don't know how the talisman system works, guys, I can just kind of said do it, but let me explain what it's doing. It's actually buffing up those 3 skills pretty massively by, well, twofold. It's going to change the animation, change the effect, change the damage. That's what the talisman does. And then the rune just buffs up the damage and the cooldown of the skills. So in particular, we're stacking heavily onto the Genocide Crush. So it's like twofold. We're buffing up these 3 skills in terms of their animations and effects, and then buffing up Genocide Crush on top of that. And that's how the talisman system works. Used to be a lot harder to get all of these before and to optimize this, which is why I'm wearing some random BS. You can see I already had the cooldown for Genocide, but go ahead and get all the damage. Get 1 of each. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. So this is a fully done character. I basically have now copied everybody else on the website that is doing the same thing. So that is something highly recommended. I know DFCat is kind of an old website at this point, which I'll leave in the description below, but it is a useful one for stuff like this. You can also see that my title skill, my platinum title skill, is your level 40 skill. My level 40 weapon is the skill that they want to stack. And why is that? Well, that's the level of Genocide Crush. So they're just stacking the hell out of Genocide Crush and doing that. The other thing, don't forget to do, guys, now that you're max level, I always forget to do it, but level your passives, level up your skills again, because you got a lot more skill points. Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention, they have removed the TP system. So TP used to buff up your skills, if you guys remember or played DFO before. Used to buff up specific skills up to like 50% extra damage. They've removed it and basically moved the damage over, so you don't have to worry about that system anymore. It's just totally been removed, so there you go. But yeah, there's your talismans. Level up your skills. Make sure you have enchants on all of your gear and put on all of the rare gear and potentially get an aura, title, and creature. It's not really optional. You do need to eventually get one, and they do provide a ton of damage. How you get one, whether you buy one in the package shop right now, like for instance the Phantom City package right now is incredibly strong. It gives an awesome title, an awesome aura, an awesome creature. Basically all 3. It even gives you an avatar. I'd say the Phantom City package right now is top, It gives you everything you need to make a new character and make that character extremely powerful right off the bat. I do think you need all of those, are not really optional, but again, I'm not going to speak on how or what it's going to take to get one of those. Eventually, yeah, you'll need to fill up this with appropriate stuff. My stuff right now is really old. This is like literally like 6, 7 years old, so a lot of my stuff is totally outdated. But yeah, as far as what to do for the rest of your FP for the day, guys, you can effectively immediately start running Hells. I do have a lot of these event Doom Oracles that we're getting because of the event, but you also just got a flat 300 amount. I say, guys, I recommend farming Hells immediately as soon as you can. I have a favorite that actually takes me to the Disciple of Doom, which is this Caps version of Hell mode. You guys can see right here. It's something, a dungeon you're going to get really familiar with. Cast your buff, cast your stuff, and just go in here and try to kill everything. Now, at first, you're not going to be very strong, guys. These enemies are going to take a little bit of time to kill. And even killing this little thing right here is going to take a few minutes, or not minutes, but, you know, it's not going to be as quick as it will be. Let's put it that way. Boom. Okay, so you guys can see I'm getting Doom Oracles back. I'm getting coins back. And that's the dungeon, okay? But don't hit retry if you want to do it again. Instead, run to the right, because what it does is it loads the next map immediately. And it makes farming this dungeon very fast, much faster than it's ever been. Something that is worth mentioning, at least, because man, one thing that is really annoying about Hell mode is just how long it takes to farm. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Now, I recommend farming this Hell mode mostly because anything that we get out of this Hell mode, guys, is going to make us stronger. I'm kind of hoping I can get something to showcase how it works, but if not, I can just go to another character to demonstrate. But it does take a little bit to kill these guys, but I am going to run my FP dry, even though there is something else I recommend doing. And I'll explain that why. Right now, this is from an event, but I'll pick that up as well. I'm really hoping we can get an epic or something, man. Oh, shoot, we're definitely going to get one now. So this is a rare occurrence that basically summons a boss, and because I don't have any gear, this is going to take a long time to kill him. But one nice way that you can kill him is to pick up these little shards here, and they do extra damage to him, which we're going to need because we do 0 damage to this guy. At least they thought of the little guys. But we're definitely going to get some epics here. It's just a matter of which one. Oh my god, we didn't even get any epics, yeah. I can't believe this stupid ass game. Yeah, unfortunately, we only got souls, which is fine when you think about the fact that souls are a resource, but it is a little annoying. I couldn't showcase what I was talking about. Anyway, such is life with Doom Oracles, guys. I mean, I only ran it a couple times. You do have 300 as well as the event going on right now, so just keep running them. But I did run my FP dry, and the reason for that is we actually get FP pots, or you can buy an FP pot, something I recommend doing. You can buy this one right here, Elixir of Fatigue Recovery. You can craft it yourself, or you can just buy it from the auction hall. The Fatigue Recovery, it's only 75,000. Highly recommend getting one because it immediately recovers 30 FP. So that's something that is recommended if you're a new player to know about, that if you run an FP, you can always recover 30. Now, I mean, exactly 30 is useful because I'm going to go ahead and jump to an advanced weekly dungeon. You guys can see here I've gone to the channel select screen, and we want to do the advanced weekly dungeons. Now, these dungeons do require FP, and they require exactly 30 FP. So I'm actually going to do it on this character because you guys can see I already have all of my characters have ran this dungeon, and I want to save some runs. But effectively, I recommend doing this on day 1. When you get to max level, if you have the FP, or use your FP pot and do the Valley of Dreams. And I'm going to explain that with a different character. Alright, I was stupid, guys. I actually don't have any other characters I can do to showcase the Valley of Dreams. It's a really easy dungeon, but instead I'm going to showcase a different dungeon. I'm going to showcase the next dungeon that I recommend doing. So, of course, you guys can see that there is a slight fame difference. The reason why I said White Cloud Valley of Dreams is because it has the lowest fame requirements. But when you get a couple pieces of gear, you'll get a little bit more fame, and you can immediately jump into the Solidaris. So that's like the next level. And of course, as you keep getting stronger and stronger levels of fame, you can just keep doing the harder and harder dungeons. Now, you can only pick 2 of these dungeons per week to do. So of course, generally you'd want to do the 2 hardest dungeons that your character can do. In any case, just make sure you do at least 2 dungeons, but they do get increasingly better rewards at the higher difficulty. But I'm going to showcase instead the Solid Artist of Dreams because I actually have entries into it, and hopefully showcase why it's important to do any of these weeklies, whether it be any of those 5 weeklies. It's important to do 2 of them. Okay, so I'm going to showcase at least this one to demonstrate why. The dungeons are very easy if you are geared for them. But of course, as you get stronger and stronger, they're just going to get easier and easier. Like this character should probably be able to beat this pretty quickly. As you can see, I do have some levels of epics and uniques on this character. So it's not quite like my brand new character, like my Chaos, but I am rocking some of those. So some pieces that I got from Hell Mode and this content as well. That's kind of the thing. That's kind of the name of the game with this whole cap is like you do the weeklies, you do the dailies, and you do Hell Mode. Those are the 3 modes. So I've already showcased Hell Mode. You weren't very lucky. Now I'm showing the weekly content. And, oops. It's really easy to do this dungeon when you're about this level of power. So, and the whole reason you're doing these weeklies, guys, is for the reward screen right here. You can get some gear. Unfortunately, not very lucky at all today, but we do get a lot of coins, get some Doom Oracles, and we do have a chance of getting up to Primeval level gear in doing that weekly. Fortunately, we weren't very lucky. We only got a couple starter gears, which basically mean rare souls. But that's, again, part of the reason why I have so many characters running this content, guys, is because, okay, this character didn't get very much. Next character, you know. Move on to my grappler. And so now you kind of see the benefit of this, that I'm basically farming weekly content on 20 different characters to be able to get a bunch of tokens, get a bunch of Doom Oracles, and hopefully try to get as many epics as I can. I'll slot them in as I keep getting them. So let's see how this character fares. It's been dud after dud, man. I can't get anything. I just want one unique to showcase like an improvement over the starter gear. I can't even get it, man. This is I complained about this in my podcast, by the way. I think getting uniques is a little too fucking hard. Okay, how about this character? Can I get a unique soul? Or a unique piece of gear, please? Okay, we got a couple. Actually, this is worth talking about. Okay, got an improvement. Basically, you guys can see anytime you see a green arrow, you can see it is a slight fame improvement. They do recommend putting that on, basically, is how the game is suggesting, and they are recommending that because I have a ring right now that is still part of the old level cap. And basically how it would work is whenever you get an improvement, just use the inheritance system. What it does is you pay a little bit amount of gold, but effectively you can move all of your amplification or reinforcement as well as the enchant over for just a small fee. This is the fee. If we did it right now, like for instance, I would move over the stats. It also moves over any fusions if I have them on, which I do. I have a Primeval Fusion, so it moves that over as well, and now you've basically replaced the old gear with a slightly stronger one. So that's kind of how the improvement system works. It's pretty nice. You guys also saw that I got a distinct pot. This is a very particular system that gives you a certain rarity of gear. The distinct gears, you guys can see I used the pot right there. They are a little bit different pieces of gear. They're actually, you can treat them as like a universal piece of gear. They show up in the armory as well, but effectively they can be used with any set, and they are slightly weaker. You guys can see it gives only 48.5% damage versus 53, but they also generally have like different unique effects. Like for instance, the Magic Stone has more cooldown reduction than normal. This one has like some kind of backstep upgrade cooldown, minus 3 seconds. So they generally have secondary effects to kind of balance out the fact that they are slightly weaker. And they also can be used in any set. So that's kind of the nice thing about distinct gear. You can use them, it uses it with the highest set, and then if you're just wearing whatever set you're wearing right now currently, as like it's saying I have my highest set is overwhelming nature, it would just add on points to that. Even though I'm wearing currently just a whole bunch of random stuff right now. What I highly recommend, by the way, is to just slap on whatever gear that you get that has a little arrow on it. I think generally speaking it's going to be demonstrating that you will have higher gear. Eventually what you're going to want to do, and I'll swap to a character that has better gear to showcase this, but eventually you're going to get to this point. When you do enough hills, when you use enough resources, your armory is going to look maybe a little bit more like this, where you're going to have a lot more rares and uniques filling out these slots, and potentially epics all the way up to primeval filling up more slots. And then of course you want to pick one, or try to focus on one until it gets to the unique grade, because what happens when you get unique, you guys can see I get a secondary effect, and if I got it up to the legendary, it'd have a third effect, and if I got it to the highest epic, it would have another effect. So you guys can see the set effect keeps getting stronger as I keep getting higher and more rare pieces, but you don't get that special effect until you upgrade from the rare set. So unfortunately my paladin only has this unique set. What are you gonna find though, like on my main character, that you're gonna build up your collection such that you're gonna eventually get everything unique, and then you really gotta focus on one. So you guys can see I have legendary on this. This is way stronger, and I have way better pieces, but you guys can see I am building up this repertoire on each character, and especially on my EK right now, which I've dumped a lot of resources into farming hells. She's getting a lot more gear. So it's kind of how it works. You just keep farming hells until you build up your armory, and then you get stronger. Now, one thing that also you need to know about as a new player is the equipment simulator. So you can also check how much damage you can get on single pieces of gear by using the simulator. So like for instance, if you wanted to theory craft like how much stronger would I be if I got like this Yang Ul sword, you guys can see my cooldown based damage. If I got the primeval version, my damage would go up damn near 100%, you know, total cooldown, total damage would go up 150%. So Yang Uls will give a huge damage buff. So you get to theory craft a little bit, which I think is really awesome. Maybe if I got another weapon, I'll show you the damage increase, but you know, these are just kind of like if you find or want to compare with different pieces of gear. If I wear, like for instance, I take that off and just put on like an epic shoulder, you guys can see because it's not part of my set, I'm actually going to lose a lot of damage, and it doesn't recommend switching out. So yes, you get to play around with this, any piece of gear that you have. Maybe you got a legendary weapon, I got a legendary Yang Uls. No way in hell is that going to be stronger than what I'm currently wearing. I'm actually going to lose a lot of damage by wearing it. So that's how I knew, even though I have this weapon, I can't use it because it's going to lose a lot of damage. So it's really cool simulator. It's in your inventory right here under the armory system. The last thing we're going to talk about, guys, is the Gaze of the Maleficent. I'm going to go ahead and slide down to one of my weaker characters. I do have a 20 character limit on who can do this content, so I don't want to waste it on my chaos, but I just want to demonstrate what the daily dungeons are, guys. So the daily dungeons, how they work, it's called the Gaze of the Maleficent. You go to your DFO mission. You guys can see you have your daily and your weekly missions, and Gaze of the Maleficent is right here. You click this go button right here and you get sent immediately to it. Click yes, and this is 2 daily dungeons, guys. How it works is just like a normal dungeon effectively. You have to fight 2 different mini bosses, and then the final boss, that's really it. That's really it. It's a little enhanced over the normal dungeon content, a little harder, but this is something that is a little bit challenging when you're new. But the nice thing about this content is that it still shouldn't take you more than like a minute or so to clear it. And the reason why, as the fight goes longer, you guys can see I'm getting this Gaze of the Maleficent buff. And that buff effectively makes it so that your damage is much, much higher. So it doesn't matter how strong you are or weak you are early on. And I think that's something I noticed when I was playing these characters. It's like I don't have a lot of great gear yet, obviously, because I didn't have any. I mean, I have a lot of uniques and epics now, but I didn't when I started. The Gaze of the Maleficent buff at the top left here is actually compensating for that. So, you know, you might have 10 stacks, but you're going to be doing a ton of damage with those 10 stacks. So, it's kind of balances all out. And of course, when you're as strong as like my main character, you're able to clear this content in only 30 or so seconds, like super fast, without any problems. So yeah, you guys can see it only took like a minute, and I almost had max gaze buff. So just kind of goes to show you don't need great gear to be able to do these dailies. You guys can see I just hit the space bar right there, and it jumped me to the next dungeon. So it's all like kind of self-contained right here. I don't have to like go through all this effort to find what dungeons to do that I already have it all lined out for you. Use this, another reset there, use this. Use this. Okay. And those are your 2 dungeons. The reason you do those 2 dungeons is because you get this, which gives you coins as well as some much needed Doom Oracles. Then you can pick up these quests right here, which give you more coins, and then the 5 Doom Oracles here. Guys, this is very suited for daily type stuff because you need 22 Doom Oracles to do a hell mode. So you effectively got like a little bit halfway to getting yourself a free hell mode by doing these 2. And I would consider those Doom of the Maleficent dungeons. They're not quite, but the 2 daily dungeons are kind of like hell modes because each time you clear it, you have a chance of getting gear. I've gotten some really good gear like epics out of it as well. So I only got, unfortunately, this rare soul out of it, but that's just on this character. And so they made it really easy, only a couple minutes, and then I switch over to the next character and do it all over again. So this is kind of like the strategy I have for why I recommend having a lot of alts, because you can basically abuse stuff like this, the daily, the weekly. It's really, really abusive, and you can eventually get a bunch of gear like this character has. I mean, she doesn't have every slot filled up, but she does have a lot of legendaries, uniques, and just a couple slots left over. And she's actually pretty decently strong in getting herself a lot of these silver coins, which I'm going to end the video talking about some things that you're not going to be able to get immediately. But once you get a good stockpile of those coins, guys, you're going to notice I have basically on all of my characters a lot of different things. First and foremost, guys, is the Grimoire NPC. We talked about it earlier, but we didn't talk about all of the items. Very useful items in here. First and foremost, guys, maybe this is the first one you get, this unique selection box, because you get your unique weapon. It's selectable. You get to pick exactly what weapon type you need, and the unique weapon is much stronger than the rare weapon. Can give you a huge damage increase, and just use the equipment simulator to demonstrate that it is a lot stronger. So I've talked about this in my podcast, but there is this pot right here. You can pick it up 8 times a month, and it costs 10 unique souls. But what you can do is you can select any set that you want. If you want some cooldown, for instance, you might get this Cleansing Darkness, and it only costs 10 souls, and you get a selectable pot that you get to select a set. You don't get to select what gear comes out of it, but it's really useful. It's how I was able to gear up my striker like pretty much instantly. If I can showcase my striker really quick, she was able to get herself, using just those pots, the Cleansing Darkness set, because I was able to get a whole bunch of actually that wasn't those pots, it was legendary pots, but same concept. Okay, I used a bunch of legendary pots, and I got her all these legendary pieces using only legendary pots. Same concept, but with uniques with that character. So, and it's really useful, you know. Just get these 8, open them for the set that you want, and you're automatically going to be very close to getting it. That'd probably be the first thing I get. If you have the souls afterwards, get the box and start building towards that. But most likely you're going to be a new player and not have a lot of the souls. So what I do recommend, however, though, guys, you need fusions. Okay, fusions are still very important in this cap. They were, of course, important in the last cap. The fusion systems are all still here in this cap, and they're going to be expanding them as well. So this is not an optional feature. If you don't know about fusions, effectively, guys, all the fusions are here in this box right here. So you guys can see you can get 20 of them a week. You have fusions for these 10 slots, not including the weapon. So you only need 10 of them, but you do need to get all of the fusions. You need a fusion top, you need a fusion bottom, you need a fusion shoulder. You need all of these. And it even tells you what it recommends you getting. Like if you were going to get a bracelet, it would like recommend one of these bracelets. It's not recommended me because I haven't bought the box, but it would recommend something. The recommendation is good, although I will say that maybe you want to look at a website to see what everybody else is doing. And for that, let me open up yet another website that is going to be useful for you in this cap, and that is DFMax XYZ. It's yet another Korean website, except unlike DFCat, this is actually for this level cap. And if you want to, by the way, right click if you're in Google Chrome and just do translate to English, and now you can read everything. Basically, I'll put this in the description as well, but pick your character that you are playing. Like if I'm playing my Chaos, I'm going to go to Knight Chaos, and you kind of see what everybody else is going in terms of like their fusions. You guys can see they have actually a whole new armor set of fusions, so we don't have that yet. But at least you can look at what their primeval fusions are as well as the non-slot fusions are. So you guys can see right here, these are things that you can just buy out of the box. Like everybody's using this bracelet fusion, and everybody, or this guy right here, one of the top chaoses, is using these 3 fusions right here, which you can just pick up out of the box. Yeah, Reaper's Trap, Peaceful Pass. These are probably fusions that it recommends anyways. So yeah, look at that website, guys. That website is kind of telling people what they're going for in terms of like the current gear, what weapon everybody's going for, what fusions people are rocking. Unfortunately, they're not using these fusions, but I'll just tell you right now that a lot of people are going the green fusion because cooldown is pretty rare in this cap. So they're usually going the winds fusion because it always has a little bit of skill cooldown on there. And most everybody can, you know, you will not go wrong if you pick all 5 pieces of the wind fusion set. I have a couple speed sets, but I might just switch those to the green set eventually, because cooldown, like I said, very rare in this cap. It's one of the few places you can still get cooldown reduction, skill cooldown, and you can make up the damage in other ways, I guess, from the set effects and stuff. But anyway, guys, you definitely want to get one piece of all of those fusions. The 2 fusions I wouldn't recommend getting, however, are your necklace and your ring. And the reason for that is you actually have primeval fusions. These are these 2 right here. So I would just get 8 of these fusions right here, the 5 armors and these ones right here. But the necklace and ring, you want to get the primeval fusions. They cost a little bit more coins, but they are best in slot. Okay, so they are just straight up better than what you can get in terms of the ring and the necklace here. So don't even look at the ring and necklace fusions. None of these are worth your time because they have actually upgraded versions here in the pot. Now you can't select what you get out of it. So if you don't get something that you want or that you like, then you'll have to re-roll. But for instance, like this gives 11% damage and MP recovery. You're not going to find that stat on the necklace. So basically everything is better for the primeval version. So that's not even up for debate. Just get a primeval fusion necklace and ring, put it on, and if you don't like it, keep rolling until you get something you like. But you need all these fusions, guys. It's going to give you a humongous damage boost. And you do need the coins to be able to earn that. So, alrighty, guys, on the topic of fusions, I forgot to mention it, so I'm going to add it into here. Guys, do not forget about the imprint system that exists for your right side fusions, okay? And if you don't know how that works, effectively, there's ways to improve the overall damage on these fusions on the right side. You guys can see those little triangles right there. You want to try to get a triangle on the overall damage, and you can imprint up to 3 times, and you're hoping to imprint 3 times on option 1, which gives you overall damage. You guys can see here, like right here, this is perfect imprint. I got 3 on the overall damage, and so it's basically increases the damage by 1.5% if you can do that per piece. So that's a lot of percentage in damage that you can get, guys. 9% effectively if you can get everything working out perfectly. So it's a really big damage increase, obviously. And the way that you get the materials here, you guys can see the materials, is this Forgotten Light. If you hover over here, you can actually see where you can get the Forgotten Lights right here. You can see you can trade them from the Lingering Lights, and it even mentions where you can get them. You can get some from, you know, the Ashran Library, disassembling, but the main one that you're going to be getting it from, in my opinion, is going to be the only relevant Legion dungeon available, the Force of Awakening. I will just mention that these 3 Legion dungeons are not really relevant in this cap. These were back in 110 cap. And they provide fusions that are kind of outdated by the sheer fact that the Grimoire NPC is literally selling every week, selling you 20 of the best in slot fusions currently. So you can just buy them with tokens instead of doing the Legion content. But that just means that this Force of Awakening Legion dungeon is the only relevant Legion dungeon in this cap, because it gives you the Forgotten Lights that you need to upgrade these fusions, which unfortunately, even in Korea, this is still relevant in this cap. You're still using the same fusions for your right side. So something to keep in mind, that yes, you should still be doing Forest. Yes, you should still be optimizing your right side fusions with the imprinting system if you are not done with that yet. It's a lot of big damage increase, and it's highly recommended for me. Alrighty, guys, well, that covers just about all of the new stuff that is available in this cap, but I do want to cover a lot of the stuff that is still relevant that may come from older caps. Alright, first things first I want to talk about is your buff enhancement system. This is something that has existed for a long time in DFO, but effectively how it works is that your buff skill actually can be over leveled and buffed up from what it normally is at a max level of 10. It actually can get 10 levels higher than this for a maximum of 20, And you used to be able to wear gear like this encroach gear right here that used to farm in a dungeon called Operation Hope to buff up the effectiveness of this skill further. However, in the recent update, they've basically made this Operation Hope gear useless. It's 100% useless. You could take it all off. You could delete it. It does nothing to your stats. Now you guys can see that you get a generic +4 to your buff skill, and you have to make up those 6 levels effectively from your title, top, bottom, and creature. Those are the only places you can get additional levels for your buff skill, I should say, on the character. So you'll notice that on like my main characters, I've invested on doing that, and you guys can see they have achieved the maximum level, 10 levels higher than whatever it is. So my Warcry has a 20 plus 10. I got 10 levels from my title, top, bottom, and creature, as well as unique motion if you have it. You guys can also notice, though, I am still wearing a set, but it's only this particular one, the Dark Fragmented Abyss set. So you guys can see it actually gives me 0.5 extra damage on my Warcry skill. This is the only set of gear that actually buffs up your buff swap. The old gear that it just showed off that you used to farm in Operation Hope does not do that anymore. So just wanted to throw that out there, that the Dark Fragmented Abyss gear is the only gear that has it. Now, how do you get Dark Fragmented Abyss gear? Well, on one hand, you can just be lucky and get it to drop, although most people are just buying it from the NPC. Center right here, she's a really good NPC. I highly recommend that you buy out her Doom Oracle weekly boxes. There you can see you can get Doom Oracles for tokens, and a lot of them. You guys can see I already bought out this week. But then if you go over to the other tab, right, or Malefic Residue tab, you guys can see you can get a selectable Dark Fragmented Abyss box here that has all of the items, including the weapons. So you can get 1 box a month for 500 residue, which residues are very cheap. So there's a selectable one you can get every month. There's also another one, lesser known, and that's because it came from the previous cap. Let me actually show you how to get there from Syria's room. If you go to Syria's room, and then you go to the teleporter here, and then you go to Imperium, and then you take the Falasia, right? Get on the Falasia, and we're trying to get to the L Rock. So we're going to go warp to the Falasia, get back on the warship. You might also have an item to take you there, like this. And then we're trying to get to Dimensional Storm. And then you want to walk over here to Hugh Fitzlarry. You guys can see that I've already bought it this month, but he's also selling a Dark Fragmented Abyss monthly. It does not have the weapon in it, oddly enough, but it has everything else in it. So you can get another one monthly. This one's going to take the Rift Shard, which is an old farming item, but it's still, you can get a lot of those. You can buy any of those Malefic residue as well as this Rift Shard for pretty dang cheap. You guys are seeing 665 per. You can buy, you only need 5,000 here, and the Malefic residue is also pretty cheap. Malefic I think you only need 100 of those or 500 of those or something. So it's super cheap to be able to get one of these uniques, and you get them a lot from events. Right now we have an event going on, so that's how I've gotten most of my characters, all of their stuff. This is so rare to get normally, but there's got means of getting it, and this is basically considered a permanent stat increase for your main characters. I highly recommend this for your main characters who you're taking seriously, to get them a full unique set. But just keep in mind that the old set doesn't work, and you want to try to get to the max level, which is 10 levels higher than you're able to get from just leveling. So yeah, these slots are here are how you increase the level, and this is how you increase his damage, and that is how the swap system works now. One last thing I want to talk about kind of pertains to people who played in the previous cap. Okay, hopefully if you played in the previous cap, guys, you saved some of your old epics. You guys can see on my character right now, if you can look, I'm wearing all new epics except for my earring and my ring, and that's because with how the new armory system works, you guys can see you can wear all pieces of a set. However, you can also mix and match and not have to wear every piece to be able to get set effects. So I can still wear this old earring, I can still wear this Force Switch ring, and I can still get the set effect if I have enough points. I don't in this case, but I'm just keeping in mind that hopefully you didn't delete your old epics, because you can slot them in and you can still be very powerful. I have you know that my Nenmaster right now is one of my stronger characters, and I'm still using old epics. She's also one of my fastest because I'm using that earring that is very fast. So yeah, so I'm just proving to you guys that you can still be extremely powerful with even though using your old epics. So just keep that in mind, that hopefully don't throw them away. If you have anything cool, if you have good customs, don't throw those away either. So we can hear bing. because it's obviously proven that they're obviously not as strong as a real epic of this cap, but it's good for utility. That's why I like having it just available to be able to farm a little bit faster. The Force Switch Ring, for instance, gives me some cooldown, much needed cooldown that I don't get, and it's a lot of it, so something worthwhile to keep just for that sake. And it's possible to wear viable sets even without having even while breaking some of the set effects. Like on stronger characters, for instance, I can show on my EK. On stronger characters, for instance, I can still wear this earring without losing my set effect. You guys see I'm still wearing a legendary set effect, but I still have the magic or the move speed coming from this earring. So it's not as strong as if I wore the real set. Like this real earring is not only stronger, but it makes my set stronger. So this earring is better, but if you want 53% move speed and you have these earrings, it's not a terrible bad gig, especially when you don't need the extra damage like you do when you're grinding and farming. So just wanted to keep that in mind, that if you have some old level 100 cap gear, hold on to it and use it. You have the potential to actually use it in this cap for utility, if nothing else. And hopefully Neopol heard my suggestion and add those selectable boxes back into the Grimoire or something, because I think it's a really cool feature that you're able to do that and still be able to enjoy this cap. But anyway, guys, I've talked too much. I've got to edit this all up. Maybe I make this into 3 parts, I'm not sure. But I want to keep it 1 part, maybe 1 long part, but I will edit it up to be more consistent. But after you do that, guys, you guys can see like my top characters are going to look kind of similar to what yours is going to look like. Mine's just further along the line than yours. Okay, I have all the fusions. Here are the 2 primeval fusions, all the regular fusions. I actually have these legendaries. I just slapped on all the regular gear. I've just slapped on whatever I could to make up part of my set, my Hideouts Endless Gold set, which is the one I've been intending to farm. And I've just been slapping on every piece I can. I have Aura Title Creature like I talked about. My Talisman's already squared away. Everything has enchants. I'm using a distinct set, which is something I talked about a little bit. I'm using a distinct Magic Stone, and that's only because I couldn't get a freaking Magic Stone to save my life for this set. So yet again, distinct is adding to my set effect without actually being part of the set. So that's kind of really nice that I'm able to at least wear this, even though I haven't gotten a Magic Stone yet. So use a distinct if you can't get one to drop to increase your stat points like that. But aside from that, I'm just building this up. I'm getting closer to the epic set, which is going to give me a lot more damage boosts and all of that. So that's how you get started on this cap. You just do your dailies, your weeklies. Make sure you're squared away from the Grimoire. You got your enchants, and just keep farming dailies, weeklies, and hell mode. And that's how this cap works, guys. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Knights. Begone.